name is Jordan Russell from the Bakehouse in Marshall, Arkansas. Today we're going to be making an easy 3-step lemon raspberry cake. I want to say a special thank you to our sponsor, Loren Oils. I hope you enjoy the process. Let's get started. Hi, so today we're going to be making a lemon raspberry cake. This is one of my most requested cakes. It's a 3-part recipe, and then we're going to be putting it all together. So we're going to start with some really simple ingredients. We have fresh raspberries, we have lemon juice, vanilla extract, and white sugar. We're going to start by putting the raspberries into our pot. And you're going to want to start with this over medium heat and really just mash those raspberries down into the pot along with your sugar and your lemon juice. And you want to bring these to a simmer and really mash these raspberries as much as you can with your masher to get kind of a jam consistency. Once you've got these raspberries all mashed down into a jam consistency, we're going to keep going with this on medium heat for about 10 to 15 minutes until the raspberries have cooked all the way down and most of that water has cooked off. Now once this comes up to a simmer, you might have to reduce your heat so that your raspberries don't stick to your pan. And keep watch because your raspberries will start to stick to your pan with all of that sugar in there. Now watch over this for about 10 to 15 minutes, like I said. Your raspberries will cook down into a nice thick jam. Then we're going to strain all of those seeds out of there so there's no seeds in this raspberry lemon cake. Okay, after this we're going to be right back and we're going to teach you how to make the cake that we're going to swirl this raspberry jam into. Okay, this raspberry jam is almost ready, and we're going to go ahead and take it off the heat, and we're going to go ahead and add in about a teaspoon of vanilla. And give that a little stir. And now it's still hot, but what we want to do is we want to process the seeds out of this raspberry jam filling, just so there's no seeds in our cake. Be careful, you don't want to splash yourself with this because it's very, very hot and the sugar will stick to your skin. And you can do a little bit at a time. You don't have to do the whole thing all in one go. And if you don't have a manual processor like this, you can just use a regular sieve and run it through with a spoon. When you get to the end, you can just dump the pulp in your compost or in your garbage if you don't have compost at home. And just like that, you'll see the raspberry extra pulp and the seeds will come out, and you'll have this beautiful leftover raspberry jam filling that we're gonna cool and we're gonna put inside of our cakes, swirl inside the batter, and we're also gonna use as a filling between the layers. When we come back, I'm gonna show you how to make the actual lemon cake that we're gonna put this raspberry filling in. Now we're gonna start making our cake. First, we're gonna start off with a pound of butter cubed. Grab a spatula. And we're going to get this into our mixer. And for this, you're gonna wanna use a paddle beater. You're always gonna wanna use a paddle beater for your cakes. You start with your mixer on low, and you're gonna start adding in your sugar. Once you get about halfway in, you're gonna add in half your oil. And then add in the rest of your sugar. Adding in half your oil first is gonna help your butter cream better and help your sugar incorporate a little bit easier for you. Once this has started to cream really nicely, get all aerated and nicely put together, you can go ahead and turn your mixer off for just a second. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add in lemon extract and vanilla extract. We're also gonna add in the zest of 4 lemons. That's what makes this lemon cake really, really special. First, we're gonna give this a nice scrape down. You wanna get all the butter and all the sugar off the sides because we want everything to get mixed together really nicely. And you can start turning your mixer on low again. Go ahead and add in your extracts and your lemon zest. Get as much as you can out of it. It's really, really good stuff. And it's really gonna make your lemon cake sing. Okay, once that's mixed in, we're gonna grab our eggs, and the rest of our oil is gonna go in. And you're gonna add your eggs in slowly. Try to get them in there one at a time. And after I get about 4 of them in there, we're gonna go ahead and get another scrape down of the bowl and your paddle to make sure we're getting everything really well incorporated. Okay, again with your mixer on low, we're gonna go ahead and add those eggs in one at a time until we get the rest of our eggs incorporated. Okay, and you don't want to overbeat your cakes. That's crucial whenever you're making any cake. You never want to add too much air or overbeat it. Overbeating is going to cause your cakes to rise too fast, and then they're going to fall in on themselves. That's going to give you a really, really dense cake, and what you want is a nice light and fluffy cake. And if you beat your cakes too much whenever you've already got the flour in there, the same thing is going to happen. You're going to overstimulate the gluten in the flour, and again, that's going to give you a very dense crumb in your cake, and we want nice, light, fluffy cakes. Okay, so here's going to be a little tricky part. What we're going to do is we're going to add in our flour and our milk at the same time. What that's going to do is it's going to keep it from getting too dry or too moist at the same time, and we don't want to get our cake to be too dry because it'll start to overbeat and stimulate that gluten, and we don't want it to be too wet because the same thing will happen. It'll start to overbeat and get too much air. Okay, so on low, with one hand we're gonna go milk and the other hand we're gonna go flour mixture. This is flour, baking powder, and salt that I've already sifted together. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna stop halfway. Got a little too much milk in it, so I'm going to add a little extra flour first. Okay. And again, same time. Oop. I think messy baking is happy baking, so if you make a little mess, that's okay too. We're just mixed, just combined. Just scrape down this paddle to get as much off as we can. And if your cake batter has a little bit of lumps in it, don't be afraid of that. You don't want a perfectly smooth cake batter, because to get a perfectly smooth cake batter, you're gonna overbeat it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna scrape everything down with our spatula. Get it all mixed in here. Set this aside. And for the last little bit to finish incorporating, we're gonna use a hand whisk. This allows us to control how much air we beat into it and not overstimulate the flour. When we come back, we'll start getting these into the oven, and I'll show you how we make the raspberry swirl into our lemon raspberry swirl cake. Okay, now we're gonna get our cake into our cake pans. For this recipe, we're using 3 8-inch round cake pans. Just start by evenly dividing the batter. These don't have to be perfectly even, just do the best you can. And just try to level these out just a little bit. And then for the raspberry swirl for this cake, we're just going to take our raspberry jam filling that we made earlier, and we're just going to give this a little drizzle. Oh, if I can get it to come out, it is a little thicker than I anticipated. Here we go. And you can just drizzle this throughout the cake. Let's see if I can get all of this out of here. And then you're just going to take a fork or a spoon. Let's see, I've got a spoon handy. And you're just gonna swirl this all through your cake. And don't be afraid to swirl a lot. You're not gonna lose that pattern in the cake. You really wanna swirl it in there good. Okay, and now that we've got our beautiful raspberry swirl into our lemon cake.
A few quick tips. Lining your pans with parchment paper on the bottom and then spraying them with baking spray with flour or a butter spray can help them release away from the pan sides when they're cooling and be easier to release from the bottom whenever you're ready to take your cakes out of the pan. Also, keeping your ingredients that contain dairy, like butter, sour cream, and milk, as well as your eggs, can keep the butter from recongealing after you add them into your cakes as you go along your recipe.
We're gonna get these into the oven for about 45 to 50 minutes at 350 degrees. We'll put those in the oven and we'll be right back soon to show you how we make our lemon American buttercream.
Our buttercream. First, we're going to start putting our butter in the mixer. And again, we've got our butter chunked, and that's just going to help it blend a little bit more easily and take some of the work off of our mixer. You start with your mixer on low. Then you're going to add in 2 nice big pinches of salt. You're going to add this in now, and that's going to help it incorporate into your buttercream a lot better. You're going to add salt, and that's going to take away some of that cloyingly sweet taste to your buttercream and give it a little bit smoother of a flavor. Next, you're going to add in your lemon extract and vanilla extract. It is the lemon buttercream that we're making for our lemon raspberry cake. I'm going to let that mix in pretty good. If it's not mixing in like it's doing now, and that's totally fine, it just depends on your extract. Just give it a good scrape down on all of the sides and make sure to get the bottom of the mixer and your mixer blades and push everything down so that everything can get nice and incorporated. Turn this back on. Get on low. Turn it up a little bit to medium. And what we're looking for is for this butter to get nice and fluffy. We want it to actually change colors from the yellow that you usually see to a little bit paler of a yellow, almost to a white color. And this should only take a minute or two after you put your butter in the mixer. See, this has been going for a minute, and you can see already that it's already started to change color. Let's give this another little scrape down while we've got the mixer off. You always, 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 when you're making or mixing anything, you always want to keep your mixer scraped down on the sides and on your mixer paddle to keep everything incorporated really well. Now that our butter's ready, we're going to add in our powdered sugar, about 1/3 at a time. One trick I forgot to show you was covering your mixer with your tea towel to keep powdered sugar from going everywhere. once your butter starts to incorporate a little bit, you can slowly start to add in more powdered sugar. And making buttercream can get pretty messy sometimes, but the end result is well worth it, I assure you. Now once we get the rest of this powdered sugar added in, we're going to add in about a tablespoon of milk, and that's optional. But I find it adds just a little bit of moisture into our buttercream, and that's going to allow for your buttercream to be a little bit smoother and a little bit softer and easier to work with. I'm going to continue adding the rest of this powdered sugar and get our buttercream made, and I'll be right back to show you how to finish it. Now that we've gotten all of our powdered sugar into our buttercream and we've gotten cleaned up a little, we're going to go ahead and we've scraped down our bowl and our beater, and we're going to go ahead and put this back on the mixer on low speed, and we're going to let it go for about 10 minutes. This is going to go ahead and finish off our buttercream, make it beautifully creamy and smooth, and give us that delicious buttercream texture that everyone knows and loves. We'll be right back to get this buttercream on the cake, get the cake stacked and filled, and finish off our beautiful lemon raspberry cake. Now we're going to go ahead and put together our final cake. I've got the first layer right here already iced and ready to go. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill a piping bag with some of our buttercream. This is going to let us get a nice dam around it so we can put our raspberry filling in the middle. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your piping bag, and you can get these at any baking supply store. You can get them on Amazon. You can get a reusable one like I have here, or you can get disposable ones if that's something that's easier for you to do. And go ahead and put maybe about a cup in for right now. It's easier if you don't have quite as much in your piping bag. You don't have to squeeze as hard. It's not as difficult for you to pipe. And so what we're going to do, now that we've got that in our bag, is we're going to pipe a dam of buttercream around the outside of our cake. And this is what's going to hold all of our filling once we put it on there and keep it from sliding out. Give this a stir, and I'm just going to add about half of this. And you want a good amount, but you don't want to overfill it, because if you put too much in there, it's going to come running out. And just spread this around. Okay, and now that we've got our raspberry filling inside of our buttercream dam, what we're going to go ahead and do is add our second layer of cake. Now you can just set this right on top of there. Be very, very careful because these cakes can be quite delicate. And we're just going to set that right on top of there. See, find a kitchen towel. And add a little icing just around here to seal this up. The icing's a little bit soft and I see it pushing out on the sides a little bit, so I want to just add some icing to the sides here to keep it from pushing out. And then we're going to go ahead and repeat the process on the top. There we go. Now that we have that layer sealed, we're going to add a good bit of buttercream right on top of the cake. And just spread this evenly, move in a circular motion. If you have a cake turntable, this would be a great time to break that out. Just get this nice and smooth across the top as evenly as you can. And again, you can smooth around the sides to keep that all tucked in. And we're going to fill up a little bit more buttercream into our piping bag to do another buttercream dam to contain the rest of our raspberry filling. And we're going to put about the same amount, about another cup of buttercream in. Maybe that was about 2 cups. I think I got a little heavy-handed on the buttercream there. There you go. And just fill with the rest of your raspberry jam filling. And this is gonna taste so good, I promise you. And add the final cake to the top, your final layer, and finish with some more buttercream. So lots and lots of buttercream. Now if you don't like American buttercream, if you find it's too sweet for you, you can always try making a Swiss meringue buttercream. It's a little less sweet, it's a little more complicated of a recipe, but it is definitely a little less sweet. People tend to say that it's less cloyingly sweet. It is definitely worth a try if you are more of an intermediate baker. So give that a try if you don't like the overwhelming sweetness of American buttercream. Now we're going to go ahead and bring this down the sides. Any extra that you have just to get the sides of that cake covered. And just keep going around and smoothing over the edge. And what we're doing here is this is going to create a nice crumb coat that we will pop in the fridge and let set for just a few minutes. And when we get back, I will show you how to finish covering this cake in American buttercream. All right, now let's finish off this cake. All right, we're gonna get the last of the frosting done. A little bit of cake in there. Get that out. Okay, we always start with the top. Just gonna smooth this over the top of our cake. Get the top nice and flat if we can. Like I said, if you have a cake turntable, this would be a great thing to employ here. Right now I don't have a cake turntable, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to be able to serve your family and friends something nice and use, regular ingredients that you can find at your grocery store. And that's what's so great about this cake, is I've used ingredients just about everyone can find at their local Publix or Albertsons. Just things you can just find around your neighborhood, and that's what I love about this cake. It's absolutely beautiful, it's absolutely delicious, and anyone can make it. Absolutely anyone. These cake crumbs out of here. And as you make it evened out, you're just gonna wanna kind of drag the excess over the sides. And then we're just gonna start covering the sides with our buttercream. And as you go around, you might get a couple of loose crumbs, and that's okay. We want our crumb to kind of seal in all of those crumbs. But as we go around, we might pick up a couple of crumbs, and that's okay. If you do, you can just kind of pick them out, or you can let your crumb coat set for a little longer. The fridge is really helpful. If you do a cold cake, your crumbs are definitely going to stick in there. I don't think this one quite sat long enough, so you might see a couple of crumbs, and that's okay. We're not looking for perfection here. We're just looking for something beautiful and lovely that we can share with our family and friends. Okay, now we frosted all the way around. What we're going to do is we're just going to keep scraping off the extra, the big blobs, because we don't want any big blobs. We want it to kind of look nice and smooth and uniform. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around and just gather up the extra. Just any little extra bits we see, and just kind of smooth it out with our spatula. And if you see any little naked spots of cake, just grab a little bit and cover them up. Just that simple. Nothing too overly complicated here. And if you like, if you have a cake scraper or a cake comb, you can. Always go ahead and give yourself a little design in the frosting. Or if you have your cake turntable, you can always use your spatula to go around. A little wave is always nice, something like that. Or what I plan to do here, I'll show you in a minute, is using a cake spatula to just go straight up the sides of the cake. And it's going to give us a nice little finish. Let's go ahead and get this cleaned up first, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. It's always nice to have a rag handy, and that way you can kind of clean up your cake plate, because buttercream has a tendency to get everywhere, absolutely everywhere. But as you heard me say before, messy baking is definitely happy baking. If you're not getting messy, I don't think you're really having a good time in the kitchen. So now that we've got this cleaned up a little bit, let's go ahead and finish smoothing out the top. Just a little bit more. And this doesn't have to be perfect, because we're going to cover this with a design, and we're also going to add some raspberries to the top to give it a nice, beautiful finish. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to take a little excess buttercream and just go up the sides, just like this. And it's nothing fancy, but it's going to give us a nice finish here without having to buy any fancy cake tools. Just our regular offset spatula. And let's see, you guys kind of get the gist of what I'm saying here, if you see that. And let's go ahead and fill our piping bag, and I will show you the top of what we're going to do. This is just something really simple that you can do. You can do this with a piping bag, and these are a 2B piping tip. You can get these tips with most basic sets. You can order it on Amazon or get these at any local baking supply store. If you don't want to use a piping tip, you can also just do these with your regular piping bag, and it'll look just as beautiful. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and add some more buttercream to our piping bag again. And we're going to put a nice little border along the top of this, just to hold everything in on our design. Give it a little pretty finish. more maybe. There we go. And there's our buttercream. And just an easy swirl pattern like this will give you such a nice border on the top. And if you like, you can do it on the bottom as well. And just keep swirling around, moving your hand in the same motion all the way around your cake, turning as you need to, and you can just stop wherever you need to and just pick it right back up, just like that. And now to top this off, we're gonna finish with some raspberries. Fresh raspberries that we found here at this beautiful market. Tons of fresh produce, so I couldn't resist putting some fresh raspberries on top of our lemon raspberry cake. Absolutely beautiful, fresh fruits. What could be better? And we're also going to finish off with some lemon slices just to give this a nice festive look. This cake would be great for any Mother's Day celebration, any, baby shower, bridal shower, a dinner party even. Any kind of event that you have that you would love to serve something fresh, beautiful, refreshing. You've got guests over and you just want to impress them a little bit with your new baking skills. This would be the kind of cake that you could serve. It's very, very easy to make. It's very, very simple ingredients, and absolutely anyone can do it. It's very, very simple. It's just those 3 parts that I've showed you. We start with the raspberry filling, the raspberry jam filling, which is going to go into your cake, fill your cake, and then your cake. Then we make our cake filled with our raspberry filling, and we finished off with our American buttercream. Decorating the cake is just as easy as I showed you. Finishing off with our raspberries. We're going to finish off with a few lemon slices here. Just to add a little fresh twist. Just to show how fresh and beautiful this cake is. And there you have it. An easy, simple lemon raspberry cake that anyone can make. So this is our final product. We have an easy lemon raspberry cake that anyone can make in just 3 easy steps. We made our raspberry jam, our lemon raspberry swirl cake, and lemon American buttercream. I want to thank our sponsor, Loren Oils, and thank our viewers for watching. I'm Jordan Russell from the Bakehouse in Marshall, Arkansas. You can reach me online at facebook.com/thebakehousemarshall, on Instagram at thebakehousemarshall, and on my website at thebakehousemarshall.com. Thank you everyone for watching.